Hello and happy Monday. Welcome to this channel. Today we're going to be talking about the newest fragrance releases that have been announced over this past week. This is a weekly series on this channel where every week we started off with a series called Smash or Pass. This is meant to be a playful way of evaluating whether or not we want to get something and why. And this is also a way to just talk about what's new, like what are the newest releases that have been announced. And I love aggregating all these new releases for you in one video because I feel like it cuts through a lot of the noise and it cuts through a lot of the confusion surrounding a lot of these releases because there's so many of them. Sometimes it's hard to keep up. If this is your first time on this channel, well, let me introduce myself. My name is Anya. I love fragrances. I talk about them here every single weekday, Monday through Friday. I also publish additional content on TikTok and Instagram under the username ANECHKAFRAGRANCES. I also do have a podcast called The Fragrance Report, so if you're interested in fragrance history and exploring fragrance trends, things like that, I publish a new episode every Wednesday on Spotify, and I do also publish the episodes on YouTube as well. I'm toying around with the idea of either publishing them on Wednesdays or Fridays because I do want you guys to listen to the podcast on Spotify if you're able to do so, and it does help me to boost my numbers on there as well. This week will be really interesting because we're actually going to be talking about the origins of fragrance advertising. Specifically, I was inspired to do this because I saw someone on social media kind of like make fun of the way that fragrance advertising is so hyper-sensualized. If you've ever watched a fragrance ad, you might have noticed that a lot of them really focus on the human body. They focus on like hypersensuality, hypersexuality. I'm going to explain why that is because the origins of that might surprise you. So we're going to talk about that in this week's episode. So if you're interested in any of that, definitely tune in on Wednesday on Spotify, and I also will be publishing the episode, like I said, here on YouTube as well. But with that being said, we have a lot to talk about regarding fragrance releases for this week, so let's get into it. So first up, we have a new release from Pernoire. This is going to be a new fragrance inspired by maritime travel. The theme for this fragrance is navigation, and this perfume will be called Anelo. So Anelo is going to be their second fragrance in the white bottle design. If you're familiar with Pernoire as a brand, you would know that historically they have come out with fragrances in that very chic, very simplistic and minimal black bottle design. Now they have launched two fragrances with the white bottle design, Anelo being the second one of these fragrances, but the first was Polka. So if you remember Polka, it had like that white bottle design. It was a limited edition release, but it's actually coming back, I think, in permanent form, so I'm super excited about that. But essentially they are going to be dividing these two designs, or these two bottle designs, into two separate collections. Now Anima is going to be the original black collection that many of us know and love, and then Otis is going to be their newer line that has a higher concentration perfume oil, and that will feature in the white bottle design. So if we're looking at their new fragrance Anelo, Anelo is going to be a perfume with notes of freshly cut pineapple and pomelo and mandarin at the top, a heart of mango, ginger, and magnolia, and then a base of amber, vetiver, and patchouli. So another thing about Pernoire that you may not be aware of, but all their new fragrances, or like I think their new fragrances moving forward, are available as a complimentary sample. So if you are new to the brand and you want to just get your hands on the new fragrance, all you have to do is put the sample in your cart. It's free of charge, and all you have to do is pay for shipping. So let's just say you've been watching my content and you've been watching my videos or other creators' videos, and you've been really inspired and really intrigued by the brand. You can get some of their fragrances or some of their travel sizes or the discovery set, and then also get Anelo as a sample added to your order, and Anelo will be free of charge, but you might as well get some of the other fragrances if you're going to pay for shipping anyway. Like I said, I do have a code, or I do have an affiliate relationship with them, and a code available with them, and that's going to be in the description box down below. But overall, I'm actually really excited about this release. I definitely will be getting my hands on this. This seems really intriguing, and for me, as many of you already know, I've been very skeptical over the mango note in fragrances because last year we had a lot of mango paired with notes like osmanthus, which really added to like that mango smoothie trend. And to be quite honest with you, I got bored of that really quickly, and now I'm super intrigued by seeing all these niche brands come out with mango in a new and interesting or like new and reinvented form. So here you have mango paired with like tropical notes like pineapple, yes, but also some spicier, like light spicy notes like ginger. So I love ginger in fragrances. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to this release and really interested in trying it out. Next up, we have a new release by Roja. This is going to be called Parfum de la Nuit. This is a reintroduction of their Parfum de la Nuit #3 fragrance, which was part of a trilogy of fragrances under the Parfum de la Nuit collection. So this was 3 fragrances. They have discontinued the initial 2, and now they're reintroducing the 3rd fragrance as a standalone perfume. So this perfume will have notes of bergamot and artemisia at the top, a heart of rose de maille and cistus, and then a base of cardamom, cumin, saffron, geranium, cypriol, patchouli, cedarwood, kayak juniper, ambergris, sandalwood, benzoin, frankincense, styrax, ladanum, leather, and ambergris. I don't think I've ever seen a fragrance with that many notes in the base and like overall a pretty minimal set of notes at the top and the mid. This is a first for me. I am not made of Roja money, so I'm not going to be getting this fragrance, but I definitely will be getting my nose on it if I'm able to do so, like at a store or something like that. When it comes to like luxury fragrances, Roja is definitely up there. They really put so much thought and so much intention into their bottle design, into the luxury experience that they offer, into the fragrances themselves. So I would say Roja is definitely one of like definitely up there when it comes to fragrances, when it comes to like the craftsmanship, when it comes to the luxury aspect. So I'm not going to be even thinking of getting this at this stage, but this is definitely going to be a fragrance that I would like to at least try and at least sample in store. Next up, we have a new release by Moroccan Oil. They're launching their very first fragrance inspired by their iconic Moroccan hair oil. Now, the co-founder of the brand, Carmen Tal, actually started the company after she experienced an argan oil treatment while traveling. She was so inspired that she decided to start this company. Now, this company is known for their hair products, but they have recently, or not so recently, they have ventured into the perfume, into the body mist space before. So they originally launched a body mist a few years back, but they have since decided to launch a fragrance inspired by the scent of their products. Now, this is supposed to be perfume with notes of sweet florals, velvet woods, and spicy amber. The complete scent pyramid includes top notes of sweet violet, blooming camellia, and soft citrus, a mid of fresh muguet, velvety woods, and sheer vanilla, and then a base of white sandalwood, ethereal musk, and spicy amber. I think this is a really interesting release. The pricing doesn't seem to be too bad either. So the 60 milliliter bottle is getting sold for $98 USD. The 100 milliliter is $130 USD. And then you can get a 10 milliliter travel spray for $30. I actually think this is a really smart release because it sounds like they had received a lot of really positive feedback from their customer base about the scent of their product, and they're essentially capitalizing off of that by releasing a fragrance that's kind of like low risk if you consider the fact that they already have an established customer base and they are already launching a fragrance that their customers are super familiar with. And I think we'll start to see this more and more as we move forward in 2025 because because the fragrance industry is growing and growing and growing, but a lot of body care brands, a lot of luxury brands understand the association with the feeling of comfort that we get from scent and the feeling of comfort that we get from just self-care. So I do think that this is a really smart decision. I think the pricing is ideal. I haven't really smelled any of the Moroccan Oil hair products, so I don't really know what this will smell like, but I'm actually really looking forward to this. You guys know how much I've been loving my comforting scents, that the scents that I equate to smelling like a luxurious body care product, a luxurious cream, and it's really nice to see like a new fragrance in this space. Is this going to be revolutionary? No, but I don't think it's trying to be. I think this is genuinely supposed to be a release that is catered towards people who already enjoy the product they are kind of building off of, and I think this is a really smart launch. Next up, we have a new, very interesting release by the brand Sasva. They are presenting a new fragrance called Saaqi, and it was composed by Chris Maurice. And I'm going to read the marketing brief because it's really interesting. So Saaqi invites you into the wine taverns of medieval India and Persia, where merchants and poets celebrated love and inspiration. A tribute to the Sufi wine bearer, This perfume embodies an intoxication of divine connection, inspired by the poetry of Rumi, Khayyam, and Hafez. If I'm mispronouncing it, please forgive me. But this fragrance opens with the richness of red wine, layered with creamy almond and the spicy tones of black pepper. Smoky tobacco and cedarwood dominate the heart, evoking the haze of an ancient tavern. The dry down is gourmand, with oud blending into vanilla and the balsamic sweetness of benzoin, all softened by a touch of musk. So, as I pretty much said in this initial brief, so we have top notes of red wine, almond, and black pepper, a heart of tobacco, smoky notes, and cedar, and then a base of oud, vanilla, caramel, benzoin, and musk. I think I kind of called this in the last few videos that I've done, especially in this series, but we definitely will start seeing more fragrances like this, in my opinion, fragrances that really are inspired by drinkable gourmands that are inspired by notes like red wine, notes that are found in other like alcoholic beverages. I think this is a new and inventive way of exploring the gourmand category without being so redundant like we've been seeing in a lot of fragrance releases within the past year, because now I think we're evolving past just creating fragrances, gourmand fragrances, based off of notes like vanilla and caramel and nothing else. This fragrance, of course, does feature notes of vanilla and caramel, but there are a whole host of other notes besides just those initial two notes. So I do think this is a really exciting release. I'm looking forward to potentially trying this out. I'm having trouble. I think this is like available. I don't know if this is available in the U.S. readily, but I am finding this on the 15ml.eu website, or this brand just in general. Yeah, I'm not sure when this fragrance itself will get released, but it looks like on this 50-milliliter.eu website, this brand is kind of like, I'd say, affordable niche. They have fragrances that are around 175 euros, which isn't bad. Definitely something I would describe as affordable niche personally. So yeah, this seems really intriguing. I don't know if they have a big presence in the US. It doesn't initially look like it, but I would definitely be interested in trying this brand out and exploring them further. We do have a new release by Lattafa, when do we not? This is going to be a perfume called Victoria. Now, I saw this initially and I was kind of intrigued by it because the packaging is definitely quite beautiful. This is like the kind of bottle that I'm really drawn to, and it's kind of interesting because I feel like with so many of these affordable Middle Eastern releases, they either go for a really beautiful bottle design or they go with something so ostentatious that you don't know what to do with it. And in this case, this is a really beautiful bottle design, so I do appreciate that. This will be called Victoria, and this is inspired by lemon meringue pie. So this perfume will have top notes of lemon meringue pie, a mid of neroli, and then a base of vanilla. While I do love the bottle design on this, I think it's beautiful, I do have to say, I am not too keen on getting a fragrance that is a lemon meringue pie inspired perfume, because to be quite honest with you, I already have a lot of fragrances that adhere to this scent composition, and I don't need another one. I just don't. So in terms of the bottle design, stunning, love it, looks beautiful. In terms of the actual fragrance, this will definitely likely be a pass for me personally. Okay, I will say this is actually good news. They are charging $45 for this fragrance, which is highly unusual for a new Lattafa release, because as many of you already know, if you are a regular viewer to this channel, you know how much it's been grinding my gears, the fact that Lattafa has been charging like $85 for their new fragrance releases. $45 is a lot more realistic and it's a lot more fair in my personal opinion. I definitely think they are doing a good thing with that, because I don't know about you, but I am not interested in paying designer pricing for a Lattafa fragrance. Like, the whole reason why I started getting more into Middle Eastern perfumes was because I saw that they were launching designer adjacent fragrances for a really affordable price. When they started deviating from that, when they started launching fragrances that were like body spray kind of smells that just smelled cheap, dare I say, and they were charging $85 for it, that's when I started to get really peeved. And I think that they are dialing back on that, which is fantastic. Love to see it. So yeah, that's good news all around. But like I said, my opinion still does stand. I don't necessarily need another lemony fragrance like this one. But if they want to launch this kind of bottle design with another fragrance that I don't necessarily already have something similar to, I would definitely be down to purchase, especially if it's $45. I'd love to see it. Next, we have a new release by Xerjoff. This is going to be part of their Casamorati line, and it's exclusive to Harrods. This will be called Casamorati 1888 Harrods. Very imaginative. But this limited edition scent is a Mediterranean-inspired perfume, and this will have notes of petitgrain, rosemary, and basil at the top, a mid of cypress, cedar leaves, and orange blossom, and then a base of cypriol, myrrh, benzoin, and incense. This sounds really intriguing, but I would say, like, if I had to choose, I actually don't own any Xerjoff fragrances. I know, big shocker, right? I don't own any Xerjoff fragrances, but if I had to choose like the first fragrance for me to own from the brand, I probably wouldn't choose this one. But this does seem intriguing. It's just not going to be a fragrance that I'm realistically going to purchase for myself. Next up, we have a new release by Christian Louboutin. This fragrance will be called Fétiche de la Rose, and the perfumer behind this is Quentin Biche. And this is a fragrance with notes of pink pepper, black cherry, ginger, and rose. They were inspired by a liquor leaning cherry with this, so they are going for a liquor-inspired cherry with the fragrance. And the marketing and the whole premise of this fragrance, I think, is designed to be very sensual. It's inspired by, you know, a sensual woman, and that's really what they're leaning into when it comes to the marketing, when it comes to the general look of the fragrance. So if you don't know, Christian Louboutin is actually really focused on sensuality when it comes to his designs. So if you don't know, Christian Louboutin is primarily focused on footwear. They have since transitioned into fragrance, and they actually patented, this is really interesting, I mean, if you're interested in history, I don't know if you are, but you know, like the red soles of the Christian Louboutin shoes that like they're like just known for. So the red soles were inspired by, and this is like, you know, brand myth, but they were inspired by the nail polish that one of their employees was wearing. So Christian Louboutin basically went into the office and he was like, you know what, these shoes need a little bit of pizzazz, and he saw that his employee was wearing this like red nail polish, and he painted the soles of the shoes with this red nail polish. And since then, that nail polish shade, or that shade of red, has actually been patented by the brand. So I don't think that any other brand can use that shade of red in any footwear, or yeah, I think that's what the patent is. But yeah, it's really interesting. And they originally kind of like delved into the beauty category by coming out with their line of nail polishes in this kind of like design, which looks like a spike, which looks like it could like hurt someone. And now they're kind of expanding beauty further by adding some fragrances as well. And for those of you who might be wondering, Christian Louboutin shoes are not designed to be comfortable, they're designed to look sexy. So, yeah, it's interesting because if you think about like comfort, Christian Louboutin is not designed to be comfortable. Manon Leblanc, on the other hand, is designed to be beautiful and comforting. So, yeah, a little bit of fashion history for you. As many of you already know, I'm not super interested in cherry fragrances unless they really offer something new and interesting and innovative. And I can't really tell that by looking at a fragrance pyramid. So I would have to definitely try this fragrance out before coming to my own conclusions about it. But I feel like right now we either have brands coming out with cherry fragrances that are super cookie cutter and safe, or they come out with cherry fragrances that are actually innovative and interesting. So this could be either one of the two. I haven't tried this perfume, so I can't really say what kind of cherry it'll be. Next up, we have a new release by Kajal. This is going to be a fragrance that actually is red, so it matches my outfit. But this is a perfume called, let's see, Ruby Kajal. And this fragrance will feature a lot of gourmand notes, including red coconut, almond, pineapple, and juicy cherries at the top, a heart of whipped cream, ice cream, and brown sugar, and then a base of musk, vanilla, amber, benzoin, and tonka beans. I don't know about you, but I love Kajal fragrances, specifically their gourmand perfumes. And I would say that Kajal fragrances, like they're one of the perfumes, or they're one of the brands that I really want to own in my collection, but I actually haven't purchased anything from them yet. But their fragrances are on my wish list because I find they do gourmand fragrances particularly well. And I find their tropical fragrances are not like too floral, which I like. they're really focused on like those gourmand fruity notes, which I appreciate. So this is another one of those cherry fragrances. So you guys know how I feel about cherry fragrances, but I feel like there are enough other notes in this fragrances, but I feel like this fragrance features other notes in a way that doesn't just solely rely on the cherry. So I feel like this is still something that I would be really keen on trying out and perhaps adding to my collection. So this is something that I definitely want to keep my eye out for. Next up, we have a new and very intriguing release by Maison Francis Kurdijan. This perfume will be called Kurky. Now, this is inspired by childhood playfulness. They intentionally wanted to create a fragrance inspired by literally a bag of Tutti Fruities and inspired by the playfulness that one experiences in their childhood. This perfume is not meant to be sophisticated, it's meant to be a playful fragrance inspired by nostalgia. And essentially, this perfume has key notes of tutti frutti, which is peach and raspberry, and a rich gourmand musk. I think the premise of this is so fun and so interesting. I love how you have a niche brand, like unapologetically, coming out with a fragrance that's literally supposed to be inspired by childhood. And I think that's so beautiful, so fun, and this is definitely something that I would love to try. I don't know if I would necessarily like purchase this fragrance, of course, because I mean, I actually don't have any of the Maison Francis Kurkdjian fragrances in my collection. But this is definitely something I want to sample because, again, I love seeing a brand that is so big and so renowned and so known for its sophistication come out with a perfume that's just fun. And I think that's really beautiful and I think that's amazing and I would love to see more of that. So, yeah, so this is an intriguing scent. Definitely going to try this out for myself. Um, yeah, it's inspired by candy. Who wouldn't like that? Next up, we have a new perfume by Uniki Luxury. This is a Turkish brand, and they are launching this perfume, and it's going to be called Ocean the Riff, and this perfume will have notes of bergamot, mandarin, grapefruit, and aquatic notes at the top, a heart of blue chamomile, basil, and aromos, and then a base of cashmere, patchouli, vanilla, and amber. Unique Luxury does gourmand fragrances really well, and I think this is one of their first like marine aquatic inspired fragrances that I've seen. I might be wrong since I don't know their entire scent library, but they're a Turkish brand. They're a very luxurious niche fragrance brand, and while I'm not necessarily going to be someone that goes for like this kind of scent profile, and I do think this is a little bit more masculine leaning. If this aligns with you, definitely check it out. This will be launching in Milan. I don't believe they're at Essence per se, but I do believe they'll be launching this in Milan. So if you're interested, definitely something to keep an eye out for. All right, that's it for this video. Those are all the fragrances that I have to share with you today. Let me know, is there anything that stood out to you? Is there anything you're particularly excited about? Or are there some fragrances in this lineup that you're not too keen on? Let me know in the comments below. Let's have a chat about it. But thank you so much for watching until the end, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.